guys. Happy Sunday. Hope you're doing well. I do want to jump on and do this quick video. So I do life coaching. I also do intuitive readings, shadow work, energy work, healing, inner child sessions. So I've had a lot of, training going through my own spiritual awakening over the period. I don't know. I'm going to say last decade because it seems like forever. So I've always constantly been working inwardly, not outwardly, going through and being trained in different ways, working with source, channeling information, my guides, angels along the path, doing the inner child work, things like that, and basically learning, along the whole way. So I do help people with self transformation. I also help them do their life reviews. I've had three, actually. My whole lifetime, I've had a life review. Then I've had it in my near death experience, being on the other side, and then coming back again in an out of body experience. I also help people learn to meditate. So there's pretty much, a lot of things that I do help people with. Change in perspective, abundance, manifesting. So if you're looking for help, guidance, you can always book a session. I also do, like I said, life review, which brings me to being a life death doula. And so, no matter where you are in this stage of life, whether you are just wanting a better quality of life, or if you're in the end stages of life and feel like you have things that need to be resolved before you transition into the ever expanding universe, back to where we came from as a soul being, a soul level, this is a great way and method for you, right? Is the life review. We're going to end up doing a life review on the other side anyway, right? So, in my own spiritual training throughout my life, having the full life review, having the death review, and then coming back and then having an out of body review. Like that's my practice, right? A death doula, right? And it's more so about looking at our lives. It's not really about death because there is no death. There's only dying, right? It's dying to your old self. So when we look at death, a lot of people fear death. They think it's bad or not good, or, you know, um, being punished or judged, along those lines. And there's none of that. It doesn't exist. It's just in our minds. Because there's no punishment, no judgment on the other side. And we only review our lives so we can see it better from a different perspective on different levels and awareness, our physical being, our being on the other side, and then from outside of the existence of us, right? And so from there, when we can see it from that perspective, what we've done throughout life, right? Not as a punishment or a judgment, but we can make changes from there, right, into our next life and make plans based on that on the other side when we're coming back in, where we want to come back in, where it's designed and where we fit in order to come back in and have that experience to make that change, where it's more best and suited for you in the positive way, not the absence of, which is the negative way, which we call it negative. There's no actual real negative aspect. It's just the absence of, right? Anything that is absence of love is what we call negative, right? In comparative. So, and that is the darkness, right? So it's what we don't know, right? And understanding it from that perspective, changing our viewpoints around that, we can help understand where we are on the timeline, the frame line, how it all works and how it all exists, right? It doesn't exist as you are told, from day one, or going to church or religion or belief systems, that you go to hell or that you're made punished or judged for things that you're doing. No, it's an existence of evolution towards love, right? And so it's just our absence of the knowledge of that brings in the things that we're doing. We get to look at in our life review, and then that changes our perspective from that point of view so we can see it from a different way in order to do it at a different time, in a level, in a different lifetime, right? So then we come incarnated. It's not reincarnated because we're never doing it again, right? That's verbalization, which mask what we're seeing, believing, and being or doing, right? Because it's a misunderstanding when we verbalize certain things to not, that's our understanding, right? There is no reincarnation. It's only an incarnation because there's only one carnation all at one time, but there's multiple lifetimes, right? So there's no re, because re indicates that you're doing it over again. You're indicating that you're doing it because you're being punished or judged and you're going to reap what you sow. No, there's only action and the result of the action, which is not karma, because karma is only action, right? And so there's no reaping of what you sow. It's only the fruits of the labor, right? And it's just changing our verbiage and how we see things more in alignment with love, which is truth, versus the absence of it, which is not, right? So viewing it from that point of view, we can then take it on to the next level, a better place, a higher understanding of its existence as we are on this place, where we are, what we're doing, what we're living out, how we're doing it, why we're exchanging, and how it's exchanging based on who we are, where we are in the moment, into the next, right? Which is the evolution of flow, where everything is in flow, everything is in evolution, everything is in change. You cannot destroy anything, there's no extinction. We can only bring about what it is where we are in the present moment by what we're doing, by changing the aspect of frame reference. It's also where we can rewrite what was in order to change it going forward, right? So there's no aspect of self that can go back and change time. We can only rewrite, overwrite it into the new awareness of itself from that point of view. And so from there, we're able to make different, better choices in our lives, creating a better outcome, which is a realization of itself in itself from that place of view, right? And so from there, we can make change. And so the life review brings about change because we're actually looking at it, and then we can go back and have it from a different perspective now in the present moment, and not wait till we go and pass over life to where we have to do the life review and come back from that point of view, because we can speed up the evolution of it, right, from that point of view in this lifetime, in this present moment, which makes the change for the next one, right? So you're actually helping yourself out by doing a life review, your soul's evolution, right? And from that, we have expansion on a higher level of evolution, right? Which is the change in awareness, right? So from how I can see it now of what I did before, because we're actually in the middle of it when we're living a life, right? Does that make sense? So from that, you can now in the present moment look at your past and make change so it has a different outcome later. Or you can just live your life out, go and have a life review on the other side and fear the results of that throughout your whole lifetime and suffer it. Or we can make change now and over and rewrite it and change it for the future, right? So it's the aspect of opening that up into a bigger and higher view of expansion and awareness that you can review your life at any time, at any moment, in any creation, right? And make the change because you have so many different opportunities, right? And that's been ingrained and made that way in the universe. There's many, many, many opportunities to make change, right? You cannot, though, never rewrite. It's the game. It's the game of life, right? So these are the rules that's been set up based on where we are, the foundation of existence. We can never go back and change what has happened. We can only rewrite it, and we can only change it in the present moment of the future. And we can gain a better awareness in the moment by doing a life review in this lifetime instead of waiting to go into the next lifetime, the passing over and transition to where then we come back into the next incarnation where we left off here. It's continuation, right? There's no break in evolution. There's only the continuation, right? And no extinction. So though we only have one incarnation, it's at a different point, set point from where we were, where we left off, right? That's why there's no reincarnation. It's just our viewpoint that we think it's reincarnation because we're being punished or judged or whatever the case may be in your belief system, or that we have to do it over again. No, we don't do it over again. We do it from a different perspective. Because once you go over, do your life review, then you're in a higher space awareness. Then you set the tones for the next evolution or incarnation where you fit and gravitate into by attraction, the law of attraction, which puts you into that zone and that frequency where you're taking up your parents from that point of view, which is going to be your best outcome for that situation. And then from that view in that lifetime, you're set at a different place. It's a new set stone, right? So you can never go back and ever do what was done. You can only redo it from a different perspective, right? And that's by rewriting it, right? So it's not a re per se, but it is a new set stone, right? Because when you have left this body, say you come back in and you do your life review of this lifetime, and you're like, okay, how can I have done that better? What else can I choose? How can I tweak this? How can I make this? And we do this every day and all day in this incarnation, right? But this is from that side, because once you've lived out the life and you go and you do your life review, like, okay, so I can do this, and this, and it'll help me to change this, and this. And it's contemplating, right? An intelligent system, which we all are. We're part of the whole system, right? Beyond this physical realm. But when we live in the physical realm, we think that this is all that there is, right? Because we've come into beat into play. So from that point of view, we have the existence of being in that space, in that awareness, so we can have that perspective, right? And so from the other side, when we're doing life review, we're like, okay, well, this is this next lifetime, and I'm going to do it this way, right? This didn't work. I'm going to try it this way, or I'm going to take up this person, this role. Maybe the father in this one, or maybe the brother, or maybe the sister, or maybe the daughter, right? Or the mother. Whatever role that you're going to take up, is going to be what you're going to play out from that perspective, and then transform it from that way, right? And then, so it's all divinely orchestrated, right? In the basis of what it is for its creation. And it's for you to have the best knowledge and wisdom out of it, right? So there's nothing that is bad, punished, or judged, from that framework. But when we're here, we believe that there's no reincarnation, right? There's no redoing anything, right? It's only rewriting in that creation. So from that point of view, we can then take up the new form, the new experience, new body, the being, whoever we're choosing or whatever we're choosing in that space of perspective. And then we can bring that back in to the awareness and gain the knowledge and wisdom from that place, since we couldn't do it from that place, right? So with that being said, we have the opportunity to do it throughout each lifetime, not just waiting until we pass over and having lived out and then reaping what we sowed, right? It doesn't exist like that. That's a timeline jump from one to the other. But what we can do is the framework. We can work on it here and now in this present moment in order to have a different view from that point of view later. And so when we're doing it now in the present moment, we are expanding our awareness now, and we don't have to wait until later to do it. And that is in the present moment when you are ready. And though some people may not be ready to do that, it's always an important to contemplate that, think about it, how can I live my life better in the present moment, no matter where we are in that perspective, which is change. We're changing our lives now in the present moment. So for one, we don't have to do it later, but so we can have a better life, right, in this lifetime, right, and not suffer it, right? Because a lot of things that we do, we create our own suffering, right? Which is the dynamics of being without the knowledge and wisdom that we currently are in the experience of who we are, right? And when we do this, we dive into this, a deep dive into who we truly are, self-awareness, transformation. We get to learn and know who we truly are beyond this existence, right? And that's been my whole journey this whole lifetime, right? So when I was a kid, um, I would always ask the being that took up my mother experience, that identity form, when am I going to start learning about all of this existence, right? And so my perception was that I was going to go to school to learn about it, right? Which is like when you go to first grade, second grade, third grade, but it's actually life, right? Life is your school, right? And so I was looking at it from different perspectives, and I was always so happy to go to school because it's like, maybe this is the year, maybe this is the year. No, it's your whole lifetime. It's not in school, right? Your life is your school. This is your base. This is your foundation. This is who you truly are in existence. The things that we do in this place, the 3D, is just an experience, everything. So we take up these experiences to learn of it and all the lessons within it, right? Which is contemplating your understanding of, okay, why did I do this? Why did I do that? What does this mean? How does this, and putting it all together and coming to the realization and contemplating your existence here. And so when we take the deep dive into the knowledge and wisdom that I can make change here now in the present moment of my life, I don't have to have the outcome that I currently have. I can change it by rewriting, because I can't go back and actually officially change what has happened. But I can take it from a different perspective, a higher perspective, and look at it from that point of view and make change from there and then live a better life, right? And so no matter what view you're taking, in that perspective, you can have a better life. You don't have to have the life that you have, even though maybe you've been ingrained with a lot of things. And it's just the way that you are in the present moment experiencing it. That has been the outcome of the past, right? And so if you've had the environmental influences or the ingrainment, certain things, these can be changed. You don't have to stay in and be limited to those views. It's just a set point, right? And so to bring change, we do a life review from that point of view and say, okay, where did I get this? How did I get this? And how do I want this? And I can change this, right? From those perspectives. It's when we don't have that perspective that we can't change, that we're stuck in it and we're limited from that point of view, and we can't do anything with it because we don't have anything else other than what we know. When we only know what we know, then we only know what we know, right? So we have to change in our awareness and perspective around certain things in order to move through, grow, and evolve into something else, which is the change that brings about when we are going from one lifetime to the next, because we take a look at that path in evolution of itself from the last lifetime, right? Because we have many, many lifetimes, every lifetime within a lifetime, and then a lifetime after this lifetime. And then from there, it continues to evolve in many different lifetimes, whether it's for your parent, yourself, or whatever the situation may be, right? It's not just one lifetime, it's one lifetime within lifetimes, multiple lifetimes. And that's what brings about change. And so from that point of view, we can take change and make a better life as we are currently living it, or we can wait until we've passed over and then take up a different life in order to see it from that point of view, which kind of extends the lifeline, if you will, into what you're currently working on, which is multiple lifetimes at a time. Or we can take a life review now in this present moment and look at it from that perspective and make that change. And that's our living our life from a perspective of higher consciousness and awareness of it is where it is currently now. So when we make these changes, we have the perspective of source and alignment with trueness, right? So we can change anything and everything that we have or ever been in the present moment of its own awareness, which is the creation of something new. And so when we make change, we are in the place of love, right? Because we can make change in the present moment, not waiting for after, because we're loving ourselves in the moment by doing the being the change, right? And it's not after that we do it, it's here now in the present moment, right? Be the change, right? You've heard that. Be the change that you want to see in the world. And so that's by taking a deeper look within yourself and transforming that, manifesting something else in the present moment. So no matter if you're, you know, living your life, right? Life, death, doula, living your life, or death, which is in transition to their side, right? Or the case of you're dying to yourself, right? Because there really is no death, right? That's what I call it, life, death, doula, right? Because no matter whether you're on your deathbed or in life, we can do life review. And so there is no other reason to not do a life review except for if you're in your fear and you're in doubt and whatever the case may be, or you don't are not ready to look at your stuff, right? And take a deep dive into that. But again, I do coaching sessions, help people walk through it, and we can definitely book a session if you're ready to make change in your life and help yourself evolve, because this is all for you, right? It's not for anybody else. We're not helping freeing anybody else. It's you and your dynamic self that's allowing this to arise and to come to the present moment in awareness. Okay, what have I done? It's an inner look at ourselves, where we come from, what we're doing, what we're manifesting, what we're looking at, or what we want to achieve or change about our lives. We don't have to stay in the place that we currently are. We can make change to the things that are going on in our lives. And when we allow that to happen, we have a better life, right? One that we want, one that we are in joy of, one that we are, wanting to experience, not one that we are made to experience, or we are conditioned to experience, which we came up into to take life, because each life hands off the next lifetime. That's why you're born to a family. You take up the next lifetime and you take up that existence into this framework, and you make change from here in your awareness, right? Your consciousness, the expansion of awareness where you currently are. It's an opportunity to make change in evolution, right? Which is expansive awareness of the human. Because we are in expansion, right? We're an expansive being, an energy being, a light being, a creative being, right? And we have these abilities and opportunities to make change where we feel fit in our current lifetime. So if you're taking up everything of all past of your existence and you come into this lifetime and you're ingrained into it from what they do, they pass down their lineages, right? They pass down their DNA, they pass down their diseases, they pass down their belief system, they pass down anything and all things that they have ever created in being. Um, if they've experienced the Holocaust, that energy and vibration memory is passed down. And if you've taken up the genes of that parent in your evolution of being born, and you're not aware of it, and you're connected to your identity of vibration, you've forgotten your true self, and you're living in the human experience, the existence, then you're going to experience it on some other point and level. And from that understanding, we're going to have that experience and we suffer it, right? And so it's just being an awareness and presence of what you're going on and what's happening in your lifetime, why you've chosen to take up this lifetime and transform it, right? And so part of that is the reason why you've come in to this lifetime, to help transform that aspect within that lineage of the existence of the human being in that form, that timeline, right? For instance, we have the Holocaust, right? Experience, and a lot of people didn't deal with it, right? They just had the experience and they suffered it the rest of their life and they died, right? And so, from that point of view, they've kind of left the energy there. And if you've been a generation of that being born in the next generation, you have that energy and vibration within you. And so, if something triggers that, that's going to come alive within you and you're going to have that experience. And so, you may end up, starving yourself to death. You might be, the food disorders, right? A lot of those come from that. When I was counseling in addiction clinic, and that was an eating disorder clinic with alcohol and drug combination, energetically, I can see in their energy that that was part of why they were, you know, self-starving, right, and becoming anemic, and doing the things that they were doing, is because they were reliving that out on that level, but they didn't really kind of make that connection, that understanding that that is was currently affecting them, and the reason why they were becoming, um, you know, to be at an eating disorder, right? Because they were doing actions that would replay that out from a different way. Because when we have an experience, right, it's a replaying out from a, because we can never replay out the same scenario. It's going to change. So say if your parents had abusive relationships, you grow up observing this, you're going to have abusive relationship. It's different players in the play, same situation, it's abusive. It's going to show up in different ways. Same thing, underlining core issue, it's abusive. It's going to change based on where you are until you see it. It's going to keep manifesting, because you cannot destroy energy, you can only change it. And if you're not going to change, it changes for you in order to see it from that perspective, in order to have it, to hear it, to see it, to feel it, to understand it, to know it in the experience until you decide to change it, right? And so you may go through multiple relationships in abusive situations, different player, different relationships, different abuses, right? Same thing with addictions. We change addictions: sugar, sex, drinking, smoking, coffee, eating, um, different types of drugs. You may go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, back and forth. It's a change in energy shift until you get it. And it's not until a lot of times when people are on their deathbed that they realize it and then want to do a life review. But we don't have to wait. That's the great thing about it. We can do it now in the present moment. And that's why I'm here to help. Part of my journey is not only to do my own work, but to help others do theirs so they understand and know their way and what they can do and how they can do it. And then you can help your family, right, change the DNA structures, because we come in to make the change, right? And that is, again, this lifetime into the next lifetime, right? We take up a lifetime, we have the experience, we do the life review, and we come back into next lifetime to make a change to that timeline about that certain scenario, that situation, that creation that has been created before, whether you were in that prior lifetime or the next lifetime coming up, where you can come in and make that change, right? So have you heard of, being reborn to the same family, right? People will be like, you know what? That's my grandfather reborn into my son or my grandchild, right? Generations. Does that make sense? So fulfilling the need to recreate and change that timeline of that specific story or that existence comes in when you are ready to take that up. And so, what have you come in to change from your family genes, your existence? Because you are a player in the role of that existence, because that's why you came into this form, this being, this body, why you took up the parents, right? What have you come in to change or to experience? Because it's already been here created for you, right? So, do we really create our own experience? We do, right? We may have chosen this lifetime so we can have that experience, or we may have chosen this experience so we can make change. Those two options. So, it's really up to you what is you're here to do and why you're here to do it and how you're going to do it and want to do it. Um, but we can always make change. You can always change your mind. You can always break the agreements. You can always, do what you want to do. We have free will and choice, right? And but it's the game of life that we're coming to do and to play and be a part of. And it's just trying to figure that out for you, what it is that you and your soul came into to be a part of this lifetime, right? And when we can understand that, we can make the better choices in our lives. And so from the life review, we can do that. And so we can make that opportunity available for you, booking a session. We can go over that. We can take a deep dive in and see what that manifestation is for you, right? And so the life death doula, whether you're living your life and you're not ready to transition over, we can do it, as a lifetime review. Or if you're getting ready to transition and you want to do a life review, we can book a session and we can do that as well. But really, there is no death. There's only dying to the old self, right? So it's your identity, your ego, your level of consciousness, your awareness, your suffering. It's only dying to that, because there is no real death. You move on into the next life, the new awareness of where you are, of where you're taking up from the next point of view, which is your set stone, right? And it's from that creation. Now, also, I do intuitive writing, channeling. If you want to make a memoir, right, we can do certain things if you are transitioning, because Life Death Doula, I help you not only do a life review, coaching sessions. I do have where I help people, with work around the house, or cooking, errands, also different things like that, right? And in transition. And so whether you want to do some art, if you want to do some things that you haven't done in life, if you need appointments booked, if you need, I do a lot of concierge services. So in addition to like readings, life review, one thing a lot of people like to do, is create like a photo album of, leaving their legacy, doing art, leaving a letter or a video, different things like that if you are in the transition stages, which I help with. So there's a lot of things. Check out my website, my information, and everything that I'm doing, to help, um, everybody with sessions, help healing, self-healing, making amends, and transitioning, right? And so it's either in the present moment or when you're ready to transfer over, right? And so with that, I also have just this little blurb here. Um, as far as the channeled writing, there is no death, only dying, dying to yourself on every level of your being, not your existence. So commingling, meaning the death of the body, the identity, the form, the ego, not who you truly are is a soul self, your true self, your awareness, therefore the source of all good, which is God, our creator, not evil. As evil, it doesn't exist, it serves no purpose. It is that which is divine, an evolution of waking up to your current wisdom and awareness. Therefore and thereby it isn't and doesn't exist except in your own concept of believing it, of what is evil and what is not, which is in of itself being the displacement of self, the realizer, not the realization in the moment, because it doesn't exist. Whenever source is love, and I've talked about this before, and whenever you are outside of love, you have a replacement, because you cannot take, per se, like a slice of pizza outside of the pie and not replace it. So you're always replacing something in existence of love, which is the light, right? You're putting darkness in there. You're leaving an absence of it, right? Thereby thou shalt not steal, squander, or rampant yourself to death in ignorance, for you shall steal, squander, and rampant yourself to death in the forgetting of itself. When we take that piece of the pie out, we forget who we are. When we replace it, we put it back and we understand, right? Which is the knowledge, is the fullness, the fulfillment of itself in all goodness, meaning you don't steal from yourself because you're just taking from yourself, because you are it, you are all it, your source, your love, your abundance, you're connected. But when we take ourselves separate from it, we are absent of it. We forget, we don't know who we are, which is the coexistence of our form, which is in the body here, of what we're existing as, like the Laura form, or the Henry form, or the Betty form, or the Lucy form, whatever the case may be. And you don't steal because you're only stealing from yourself, for the pain and suffering is even, right? And so whatever you're creating yourself. Nobody's creating it for you, because we have the ability and we choose how we want to act and respond in that situation. And so how we create it is what we think about it, and what we're creating in our experience is what we're going to experience, right? But that was just a little channeled writing that I do, because I do automatic writing. And that's another thing too. Another way to do a life review is just to write your story out in a book. So I help people with that, writing book and self-publishing. So there's a lot of things I do. I do art, and if you need the concierge services, house sitting, different things like that. Um, Definitely reach out. I have the information linked below, and look forward to working with you. Happy journeys.